Hey everybody, it is Sean, the TTRPG Traveler here with a brand new video. This is a brand new style. So normally I've been putting out Dice Cloud V2 videos, but this one is going to be something a little bit different. This is going to be an overview of the Tamer class from Heliana's guide. And so that's kind of why I thought maybe we could, it would be nice to have me here so you could see me kind of going over the class. I also tend to talk a lot with my hands, so hopefully you will enjoy this content. Just as to put it out there, I spend a lot of time on the Loot Tavern Discord. But this is in no way a paid promotion. They're not asking me to do this. This is just something I've seen a lot of people ask questions about it. So I thought it would be something good to kind of make a video where we go over the class, answer some questions I've seen in the Discord, introduce people who've never seen it before to maybe get them interested. Okay. All right, so the reason we can talk about this is because over on Loot Tavern's page, Patreon, they have a free sample Tamer reference document. Okay? So because of this document, we have a free version. There's also the not free version. So the Patreon version of this has the updates. Everything's updated with all the familiars. This one is not, but it is free, so we're going to use that one. I will provide all of the links below. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and go into our document. So here we go, the Tamer class and familiars. I'm going to split this into two videos. The first video is going to be just about the class and the new spells that they introduce. And then the second video will be about the Infuser subclass that's part of this, and then the familiar, and talk about familiars in general. Okay, so Tamer class familiars. Here's our table of contents, our introduction. This reference document presents all the rules needed to play as a monster tamer character, a class introduced in Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting. The tamer captures creatures in specially made vessels and form an unbreakable bonds with the new companions that empowers their joint combat capabilities. The document includes the base rules and options for the tamer, as well as one tamer subclass, the Elementalist Infuser. Additional supplements include the Dragonling, a familiar whose abilities grow alongside the tamer, and a list of tamer spells. Okay, so yep, like we said, this was introduced in Heliana's Guide. There's actually 4 subclasses in Heliana's Guide. There is the leader, who, as you can tell, this is kind of a very Pokemon-esque inspired class. The leader is the Ash Ketchum subclass of monster tamers. Okay. You also have the Elementalist Infuser, which is what we're going to be going over. There is the Necromancer, and then there is the Splicer. In Larsen's Ledger of Treasures and Trinkets, another Loot Tavern product, they have introduced the Swarm Keeper. In Monkey DM's Steinhardt's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt, they have a tamer subclass called the Siphoner. And then in the upcoming Ryoko's Guide to the Yokai Realms, which is kind of a joint project with Loot Tavern and D&D Shorts, they also have another tamer subclass called the Sensei. Okay, so there's tons of these. And then from what I remember, they said the last count, there was something around 46 unique familiars, bespoke companions, and that list is just going to keep growing as they keep making more. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here. Their art from Loot Tavern, their artists are always great. So let's go Tamer. Okay, flourishing a gilded skull snatched from within the folds of a cloak, a dwarf summons a fierce-eyed angel in a flare of blinding radiance, emphatically encouraging it to fantastical feats of fury. Beaming from ear to ear, a chemical-stained gnome admires her handiwork amongst the clutter of her laboratory. a snectopus, 8 venom-fanged maws perfectly spliced with the intelligence of a cephalopod. Coughing in the smoking ruins of the cultists' former hideout, a tiefling gives their fire-infused owlbear a playful rub behind the ears, contemplating a job well done and the rewards to be claimed. Whether imbuing their companions with the primordial elements, enhancing them through the very tiny stitches of biomancy, or inciting them with words of encouragement, tamers work through their captured friends. Alone, a tamer possesses little in the way of destructive ability. With carefully selected companions, a tamer can become an unstoppable menagerie of mayhem. Okay? All right, so let's go creating a tamer. What prompted you to begin taming creatures? Loneliness? A need to transport your favorite dragongling through customs? A pathological desire to catch them all? The bond tamers experience with their companions are incredibly intimate. Both are privy to the other's innermost thoughts. However, such bonds differ between tamers. Where one tamer might view a companion as friend and equal, another might view the creature as a tool with which to fulfill their own goals. Have you lost a companion before? How did you react? Perhaps it was emotionally traumatizing, or perhaps it was simply a mere inconvenience. Quick build. You can make a tamer by following the suggestion. Choose Wisdom, Intelligence, or Charisma to be your highest ability score, followed by Constitution. Right? And the reason we're saying this is kind of foreshadowing here. Our spellcasting ability, they let you choose whether it's going to be Wisdom, Intelligence, or Charisma. Okay. So next we have our tamer table. We can take a quick look. Our levels 1 through 20. Our PB proficiency bonus is pretty much standard. And then you can tell, because they only get up to 5th level spells, that this is a half caster. And then up to 11 spells known, 4 cantrips known. And then we can kind of see all of our different abilities here. A lot of these are very standard. But you can see one of the big ones that we see a lot is the pocket family. So we're going to talk about why we see that one so often. Okay. All right, class features. Hit points. Hit dice is a 1d8 per tamer level. What that 1d8 tells us is that this is a midliner, right? They don't have the HP to be up in front. I think this is where the companions come in, right? Some of these companions are going to be your frontliners, whereas you yourself are going to be a midliner. And then our standard hit points at first level and at higher levels. Proficiencies, armor, light armor, medium armor, and shields. Again, that goes to our being a midliner. Usually frontliners will also get heavy armor, and backliners, like their mages, are going to just have light armor. So we are a midliner. Okay, simple weapons and nets for weapons. One type of artisan tool or one musical instrument of your choice. Saving throws are Constitution and Charisma. Skills, choose from 2. Animal handling, insight, medicine, nature, perception, and persuasion. Most of these are pretty good. Obviously, if you're going to be handling companions, animals, right? Animal handling is good. Nature is good. You want to be able to like take care of them. Medicine, perception is just a good all-around skill. Persuasion and insight, I see more leaning towards that, trying to get inside, right? Get in the mind, or being friends with those animals. Another way, not seeing them as just as like beasts, but as companions. Somebody brought up in the Discord that Arcana should have been in here, and I can kind of see that, where later we're going to see that they kind of, it says they make their own containers. So I kind of see where they're getting from with that. It's weird to me because Arcana to me is like, it's talking about the lore of magical items. I don't know that this is really about the lore of the magical items. I feel the others handle this pretty well, but one thing about Loot Tavern, they always say, you know, if you feel like something can be added, if you're the GM or DM and you think Arcana should be one of the skills, just add the skill. That's one of 5e strong points. If you're a GM running a game and you think something should or shouldn't have like a skill proficiency, you can add it, right? All right, equipment. You start with the following equipment in addition to your equipment granted by your background: scale mail or leather armor, simple melee weapon, net and a shield, light crossbow and 20 bolts, and then your Dungeoneer's pack, Explorer's pack. And as always, if you forgo the starting equipment as well as the items offered by your background, you start with 5d4 times 10 gold pieces to buy your equipment. Um, just a thing for me to put out there. Like I always tell people, unless you have a very specific build in mind and you know exactly what you're going for, it's almost always better just to go for the equipment and then sell what you don't need. Okay, optional rule multiclassing. If your group uses the optional rule on multiclassing, use the following prerequisites, proficiencies, and spell slots if you choose the Tamer as one of your classes. Ability score minimum. As a multi-class character, you must have at least an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma score of 13 to take a level in this class, or to take a level in another class if you're already a Tamer. The ability you use to qualify to multi-class into Tamer must be your Tamer spellcasting ability. So what this is saying, what we know for multi-classing, the thing a lot of people get wrong is it's not just the class you're trying to go into, it's also the class you're trying to go, the class that you're in and trying to get out of. So because the Tamer, we've said you choose intelligence, wisdom, or charisma as your modifier, or your Tamer spellcasting ability, you have to have at least a 13 in one of those to multi-class out or into it. Okay? Whichever one you choose. It doesn't have to be all three, just whichever one you're using as your spellcasting ability. Proficiencies gained. If Tamer isn't your initial class, you gain the following proficiencies when you take your first level as a Tamer: light armor, shield, simple weapons, and nets. Spell slots at half your levels rounded down in the Tamer class to the appropriate levels from other classes to determine your available spell slots. All right, our first level Tamer feature, Pocket Familiar. You become bonded to a companion that accompanies you on your adventures and is trained to fight alongside you. Choose a small or smaller creature with a challenge rating of half or lower that isn't a humanoid, giant, or swarm to become your companion. All right, this I know comes because there was a lot of discussion about, if it's a humanoid, is that slavery? Right? Giant, is that slavery? So they kind of just said, we're not going to deal with that. That's not a thing. So humanoid, giant, those are not possible. They might look at it in the future as something else, but right now they're saying it's just not, it isn't really jiving with them. So then we have Swarm. Now here you can't be Swarm, but like I said, in Larsen's Ledger of Treasures and Trinkets, they have a Tamer subclass called the Swarm Keeper. That one does allow you to have swarms, but there's a bunch of rules involved with that. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then you should pick up that book from Luke Tavern. Okay. Where were we? When a creature becomes your companion, it has a maximum number of hit points equal to the average of its hit dice, as indicated in statistics, and it can't cast spells. Work with your GM to find a companion that suits your campaign world. This companion obeys your commands and is friendly to you and your allies. So we'll come back to this in a bit when we start talking about, they go over some things. So the average of the hit dice. Okay. Vessel. When not summoned, your companion exists inside a magical vessel of your own design, such as a painted animal skull, bejeweled egg, or crystal sphere. While in this vessel, the companion has full cover from all attacks and other effects, is unaffected by area of effects that originate from outside the vessel, and exists in stasis. It doesn't need to eat, drink, sleep, or breathe, and it is immune to poison and disease, although a poison or disease already in its system is suspended, not neutralized. A companion at 0 hit points is instantly stabilized when it enters its vessel. Okay, so we have a couple things here, right? If it's in the vessel, it has full cover. Nothing can really affect it while it's inside its vessel. And then, even though it's immune to poison and disease inside, while it's inside, if it already had it while it was summoned, when you put it into the container, it's just suspended, right? So as soon as you resummon it, it's still going to have that poison or disease condition. Okay. And then if it's at 0 hit points, you can resummon it or dismiss it, and it'll stabilize when it enters its vessel. Okay. If a vessel is broken or a companion is released from its vessel for any other reason, the creature within it ceases to be a tamer's companion. It acts according to its own wishes and retains any improvements it gained while a companion. All right, our little note here, home planes. Some magical effects, like the banishment spell, have the ability to permanently banish a creature back to its home plane. When a creature becomes your companion, its home plane becomes the demi-plane within its vessel. If the companion becomes permanently banished by such a spell, it simply reappears in this vessel. Okay, so that's really great. If you have like an elemental or something and somebody banishes it, it doesn't get banished back to the elemental plane where it's from. It gets banished back to its vessel. Okay. Summoning. As an action, you can summon your companion from a vessel, causing it to appear in an unoccupied space that you can see within 30 feet of you, or any unoccupied space within 5 feet of you. That's the same thing. An unoccupied space within 5 feet is a unoccupied space you can see within 30 feet. That's kind of redundant. You can dismiss a companion within 30 feet of you as a bonus action or action, drawing it back into its vessel. To summon or dismiss a companion, you must be holding its vessel in hand. You can only have one companion summoned at a time. Okay, so that's great because it lets it takes an action to summon it, but you can dismiss it with a bonus action or an action. So you could technically use a bonus action, dismiss, then use your action to summon a new one. Okay. Dominated companions. A companion that is controlled by another creature, such as by the dominate monster spell, can try to resist being recalled into its vessel. When you try to recall such a creature into its vessel, it can make a charisma saving throw against your Tamer Spell save DC. On a failed saving throw, it is recalled, while on a success, it is not. So what they're saying is it's still susceptible to things like Dominate Monster. And if you try to recall it, if it's being dominated or charmed or something like that, then it can make a saving throw against that recall. If it fails the save, then you get to recall it. But if it succeeds, then it stays out. Combat. In combat, your companion shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. That's kind of a standard companion thing, I think. So you roll initiative, but it takes its turn immediately after you. Okay? It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes on its turn is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action or action on your turn to command it to take different actions. Those actions can be in its statistics or some other action, bonus action, or object interaction. If you are incapacitated, the companion can take any action of its choice, not just dodge. Your companion can't take the multi-attack action until you reach 5th level in this class, even if it would otherwise be able to. All right, so we've got a few things here. So your companion, the only action it can take on its own is dodge. It can move, but the only action it can take is dodge. But you can use your bonus action or action to command it, and then it can take a different action. So one on its statistics or one that's given by the Tamer class. Okay. But if you are incapacitated, then it's not just the dodge action. It can, if you're incapacitated, it's all of its abilities are free to be used. Okay, and then even if you tame a monster that has multi-attack, it does not have access to that multi-attack until you reach 5th level. Okay? This is similar, like we saw, it lost all of its spell casting when it becomes a tame monster, so it also loses its multi-attack, but it does gain the multi-attack back after 5th level, which makes sense. Extra attack, right? All right. Rest. A companion gains the benefits of a long rest when its tamer finishes a long rest. If it has at least 1 hit point, it regains all its hit points when you finish a long rest. Unlike other creatures, a companion can't spend its own hit dice to recover hit points at the end of a short rest. See the Soul Bond feature for details on recovering hit points. Okay. So what we see here is if it has at least 1 hit point, after a long rest, it regains all of them. Okay. Items. Armor, barding, and weapons can be equipped to enhance your companion. A companion can wear or carry any equipment that their size and body shape permits. However, your companion must be proficient with the armor or weapon to make full use of it. If your companion wears armor that it lacks proficiency with, it has disadvantage on any ability check, saving throw, or attack roll that involves strength or dexterity. A companion that is not proficient with a weapon type does not add its proficiency bonus to attack rolls made with that weapon type. That's just a standard thing that applies to player characters, so companions as well. Item bonding. Over the course of an hour, you can bond a companion to one object that it can wear or carry that is not any sort of container or storage. When a companion is recalled, all items it is wearing or carrying that is not bonded to are dropped in the space from which it was recalled. A companion can be bonded up to 3 items at any one time. Companions can't attune to magic items unless they have a specific ability that allows them to do so. Okay, so they can bond to items. If they don't bond to an item and it has it equipped, it will drop it. It can bond up to 3 items, but they cannot be attuned to magic items unless they have a specific ability. Okay. Companion barding. You can purchase armor for your companion. Any type of armor can be purchased as barding. The cost and weight is doubled for each size category above medium and halved for each size category below small. In addition, the cost is further doubled if the companion is not humanoid in shape. That's a standard companion sidekick barding thing. You really shouldn't have many humanoids, so it looks like most of these you're going to be using abstract shape costs. Okay. All right, Soul Bond. Companions make death saving throws. So they make death saving throws. They can die, and they can be revived like any player character. A companion that has been stabilized remains unconscious until it regains hit points or until you finish a long rest. Companions that are stable and have 0 hit points when you finish a long rest regain half their maximum hit points. Right? So we said if they have at least 1, they recover all of them on the long rest. If they are 0, it says stable, but we said once they're recalled into their container, they're automatically stabilized. So if you recall them, it stabilizes, 0 hit points, and then a long rest, and they get half their maximum HP. Okay. You have a pool of healing power equal to 5 times your tamer level that replenishes when you finish a long rest. Whenever you finish a short rest, you can choose to draw power from that pool, restoring a total number of hit points amongst your companions up to the maximum amount remaining in your pool. So this is sort of like the Paladin Lay on Hands. You have a healing pool. You can restore hit points amongst your companions. The only thing here is it's whenever you finish a short rest. So it doesn't look like you can just do it whenever you want. Okay. So after a short rest, you can heal them. Right. And then long rest, they automatically recover. First level tamer feature, Monster Trainer. As you gain levels in this class, your companions become more powerful. Your companions use your proficiency bonus instead of their own, potentially increasing their attack, saving throw, and skill modifiers, and their saving throw DCs. Okay. Training. Whenever you gain an ability score improvement from gaining a level in the Tamer class, you pass on your hardened resolve to all your companions, causing them to gain 1 additional hit die. Increase your companion's hit point maximum by rolling this hit die and adding your companion's constitution modifier, minimum of 0. Right? So basically, whenever you get an ASI, they get 1 extra hit die. That's their level up. So they get hit die on ASI. Okay. Whenever you gain a level beyond first in this class, each companion to which you are bonded gains 1 of the following improvements. Bespoke familiars, such as those from Heliana's Guide or Larsen's Ledger, have unique improvements that can be taken instead of these. Any newly gained companions receive these additional hit dice and improvements as if you had them since your first level in Tamer. Okay? So what this is saying is that basically whenever you get it, so if you get it at level 1, once it gets to level 4, you get your additional hit die. If you start at level 19, you get all of the additional hit die as if you had started it from level 1. And then you get, whenever you gain a level, you can give it an improvement. Okay, and then they have individual improvements, but these are the kind of general improvements all of them can get. All right, so let's look at these. Companion improvement training, speed training. Increase 1 existing speed by 15 feet up to a maximum of 150% of the creature's base speed, rounded up to the nearest 5-foot increment. We have our asterisk here, so let's go down. A base speed of 30 feet can be increased to 45 feet maximum. A base speed of 25 feet can be increased to 40 feet, and a base speed of 20 feet to 30 feet. Okay, those are the most common. Also, if you have 60 feet, 60 feet would be a maximum of 90 feet. Okay. Toughen up. Your companion gains an additional hit die, increasing its hit point maximum. Increase your companion's hit point maximum by rolling this hit die and adding your companion's con modifier, minimum of 0. So this is basically like the tough feat, right? You gain an additional hit die, and you gain it, so you can, technically you can do this each level, because this is your improvement, right? So every level, if you just want to make it a big giant meat shield, then you can add toughen up each time and it gains 1 more hit die. This isn't a replacement for the hit die that you get on the ASI. This is just another one per level. Okay. Ability boost. Increase 1 of your companion's ability scores by 1 to a maximum of 20. Go for the throat. Your companion gains a +1 bonus to its attack and damage rolls made with its natural weapons or unarmed strikes. Okay, and then our little asterisks. Your companions can each benefit from this feature once. When you reach 5th level in the class, your companions can each benefit from this feature twice. When you reach 9th level in the class, your companions can each benefit from the feature 3 times. This improvement does not affect attacks made with weapons. So again, this is natural weapons or unarmed strikes. So it has nothing to do if you have a weapon attack. Okay. All right. Survival instincts. Your companion gains proficiency in 1 saving throw. And then war training, your companion gains proficiency with 1 armor type or 2 weapons. And then our last asterisk here. Your companion can't gain proficiency in medium and heavy armor until it has gained proficiency in the prerequisite lighter armor types. For example, to gain proficiency in heavy armor, you must take this improvement 3 times, light, medium, then heavy. Work with your GM to figure out if and how a creature can wield shields and weapons. So what the saying is, you can, you need to talk to your GM or DM. If you're the GM or DM, you need to decide. What we've talked about in the server is, does it have the anatomy to allow it to hold a shield or a weapon? Right? So for example, like if you want to be, if you have a wolf and you want that wolf to be like a Zacian and hold a long sword in its mouth, talk to the DM, GM, right? If they say, yep, sure, it can hold it in its mouth, then great. If they say no, that's their ruling, okay? Right? Generally, shields, especially in D&D, shields are actually held. We hold the shield. So again, if your GM wants to say, like in my games, I say you can actually strap a shield on, and in that case, you can get the benefits, but only from that side. So if you wanted to have a tame a creature and have it bonded to a shield that it's strapped to its back or its front or something, then I would allow that. Right? Now we have our Tamer Companion summary. We're going to talk about some things from here, so let's go over it real quick. Tamer level, and then maximum number of bonded companions. We have our maximum number here. You can see we get up to 6 total at level 19. Max companion size goes from small to medium to large, and then at 17 you can have huge. Max companion CR, we start out at a max of 1/2, all the way up to a max of 6 at 19. And then improvements, hit dice gained on taming. Our little thing, for example, if a 10th level tamer trained a CR1 creature, that creature would immediately gain 6 improvements and 1 hit die. This is indicated by the value 6/1 in the CR1 column in the level 10 row. So if you were a level 15 tamer and you had a CR 1/2 creature that you just tamed, it would get 14 improvements and 3 extra hit die. But if you gained a CR 4/1, it would only get 2 improvements and no extra hit die. Also, I wanted to make sure we understand that this is tamer level. Okay, it's not character level, tamer level. So if you decide you want to multi-class out at level 18 and pick up 2 slots, or if you want to start at level, if you at level 2 you multi-class, or level 3 you multi-class into this, you lose that 19 and 20, so you could never have 6 companions, and you can never have a CR6 companion. Okay, so that's just something to consider. This is by tamer level, not by character level. All right, first level tamer feature, tame creature. One way to defeat deadly foes, have deadlier friends. As you explore, you will encounter new creatures which you may wish to make your companions. You can tame a smaller creature of CR 1/2 or lower, as described below. As you gain levels in this class, the size and challenge rating of creatures you can tame increases as shown in the Tamer Companion summary table. Vessel. To tame a companion, you must first prepare a vessel using special inks, gems, or other materials. Preparing the vessel takes 8 hours of work and components with a value in gold pieces equal to at least 100 times the target CR. So here we have our sidebar. At 4th level, you can capture creatures of CR 1 and below. To capture a CR 1/2 or CR 1 creature, you need a vessel worth 50 GP or 100 GP respectively. If you try to use a vessel worth 50 GP to capture a CR 1 creature, the creature automatically succeeds on its saving throw and the vessel can be recovered. Okay? You can always break down the components of an old vessel to craft a new one as part of the vessel preparation process. You can release a companion from a vessel at any point. The vessel remains intact and can be used to tame a new creature. All right, taming a creature. As an action, you can throw an empty vessel at a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The creature must succeed on a charisma saving throw against your Tamer Spell save DC or be trapped within the vessel. A creature automatically succeeds on the saving throw if it is a humanoid, giant, or swarm. It is larger than your maximum companion size. Use a creature's unaltered size if it is under the influence of a size-changing magical effect such as enlarge or reduce. It has a higher CR than your maximum companion CR. It has a higher CR than the vessel can capture, or it has more than half its hit points. Okay, I'll talk about that in a little bit. If a creature doesn't automatically succeed on the saving throw, or for one of the above reasons, and has either fewer than 10 hit points or 1/4 of its hit points, it automatically fails the saving throw. A creature that fails a saving throw is trapped in your vessel and becomes your companion when you next finish a long rest. So what this is saying is like if its HP is more than half, it's automatically going to succeed. So just kind of like Pokemon, right? If you go out there and you just hurl a standard Pokeball at a legendary Pokemon, it's just going to kind of like do nothing. So you basically have to whittle down its health. Under 1/4 of its hit points, it is going to automatically fail the saving throw. I would talk to your DM or GM and see if they can kind of give you a visual clue about this. I know, right, in Pokemon, you can see the health bar, you can see how much health it has, and see kind of when you should be throwing your ball, but you don't really get that. And DMs, we generally don't like to tell our players how much HP a creature has. So what you can ask for instead is like, not every creature, but if it's a creature that you want to capture, you can be like, talk to your DM and GM, see if they will give you like a blurb or something that lets you know like when it's at half of its HP and when it's at 1/4 of its HP for an animal, for a creature that you want to tame. It could be similar to like the bloodied conditions. You could say certain things like it looks really lethargic right now. So anything that the DM or GM, if you are the DM GM, work with your players. If they want it for a tame creature, I would give them something so they know when they have a better chance of taming a creature. Okay. All right, lost traits. When a creature becomes your companion, it loses the following from its stat block. The ability to cast any spells, though it retains its spells known, see Psychic Bond. Okay, so it cannot cast spells anymore. Any summoning actions or actions that create additional creatures, such as Wraith's Create Spectre action, or an Ooze's Split reaction. The regeneration, rejuvenation, and legendary resistance traits. Any effect that restores hit points, unless that effect has a limited number of uses per day. Any legendary actions, mythic traits, legendary action options, and mythic action options, and any layer actions and regional effects. Okay. Optional rule, non-combat taming. If a player impresses a celestial with an especially noble act or rears a creature from an egg, that creature might be willing to become a tamer's companion. If so, feel free to ignore the usual rules regarding saving throws on taming and let the beautiful story of companionship unfold. Our sidebar, abilities and proficiency. As your companion's ability scores change, often through companion improvement training, their skill modifiers, saving throws, attack modifiers, and saving throw DCs will also change. Working out what ability a creature's attack or saving throw uses can require a bit of detective work. First, you have to know the creature's proficiency bonus, PB. Luckily, this is quite easy. It all depends on the creature's CR and player's PB. A creature's base PB is +2 at CRs 0 to 4, +3 at CRs 5 to 6. Remember, you can only get up to CR 6, so none of the higher ones matter. So you're only looking at a +2 or +3. To proceed, subtract the creature's PB from its modifiers, save DCs. For save DCs, subtract an additional 8 from the DC. Finally, match the remaining values to the ability score modifiers. So it says, let's use the CR4 Red Dragon Wormlings Bite Attack and Breath Weapon as an example. So I went ahead and pulled up the stat block for it on D&D Beyond. So we can kind of see everything we've got here. So we have here our proficiency bonus is +2. Our hit points, 75, 10d8 plus 30. That tells us that the hit die for this creature is a d8. Okay? So it will, when it says you can increase the hit die, this one's hit die is a d8. Bite, melee weapon attack is a +6. Fire breath, recharge 5 to 6. And then it is a DC 13 dex saving throw. We're going to talk about how they recommend changing these recharge abilities. But for now, we're just going to look at the stat block and what it says in the sidebar. Okay. So it has a PB of +2, strength of 19, dexterity of 10, constitution of 17, strength 19 +4 mod, dex 10 +0, con 17 +3. Its bite attack has a +6 modifier, while its breath weapon has a DC 13 dex saving throw. Subtracting the PB from these values, so -2 from each of the values, and then another 8 from the DC, because that's how we figure out the DC is the 8 plus the modifier plus the ability. 8 plus the modifier, so we subtract PB and modifier. That actually gives us -10. Okay, so we can deduce the bite attack uses strength, right? 6 -2, 4. The only one with -4 is strength, or the only one with +4 is strength. And then +4 matches the Wormling strength modifier. And the fire breath uses constitution. DC 3 matches the Wormling's +3 constitution modifier. Again, 13 -8 -2, that's -10. That leaves us with 3. And the only thing that matches +3 is con. So that's how we can figure out what the ability scores for each of these actions is. Okay. Right. If the Wormling's Tamer is 13th level with a proficiency bonus of +5, then the Wormling's proficiency bonus increases from +2 to +5 when it becomes a companion. This results in its attack modifier and save DC increasing to +9 and DC 16 respectively. So like we said, you can have a smaller CR creature, but adding the improvements makes it stronger than it would normally be. All right, spellcasting, 2nd level Tamer feature. This is all standard spellcasting. So we're not really going to talk about all of this. The only thing that's different from normal is here. It is when you gain 1st level, you choose whether you use knowledge, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma as your spellcasting ability. We actually have seen this happening with the Mordekainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse, where racial spellcasting lets you choose which spellcasting ability. So this is kind of, even this is fairly standard now. Spellcasting focus, you can use a creature's vessel as a spellcasting focus for your Tamer spells. And makes sense. In order to summon the creature to do a lot of these things, you have to hold it in the vessel in your hand. So saying that it's a spellcasting focus is just makes sense. All right, our sidebar here, powerful companion abilities. Some monster features are very powerful and aren't designed for use by players. The two most common are recharge actions and gazes. You can help make a companion more balanced by changing these features slightly. It's advised to approach this on a case-by-case basis, as each feature is different and some might not require changing. Recharge abilities. Some creatures' actions have the addendum recharge 5 to 6. This means that after a creature uses that action, it can't use it again until it has recharged. At the start of the creature's turn, you roll a d6, and if the result is a 5 or higher, the action recharges. No class has recharge abilities, in part because they add a lot of randomness to the game. Instead of using this recharge mechanic, you can simply change any ability with a recharge to one of the following. If it's a recharge on 4 to 6, recharges after a minute, recharge on 5 to 6, recharges after 10 minutes, and a recharge of 6 recharges on a short or long rest. Perpetually active abilities. Some traits like a Medusa's Petrifying Gaze, which is perpetually active and has the power of a 6th level spell, have the potential to become overpowered and repetitive. To balance this, you can add the caveat that after a creature makes a saving throw against this effect, it is immune to the effect for the next 24 hours. Work with your GM to find a balanced solution for your game. I know I've done this a few times where instead of the gaze, it's if they make a saving throw, they can become immune to it. Bolster, 2nd level Tamer feature. While your companion is within 100 feet of you and you are holding its vessel, or if you're holding its vessel with it inside, you can use an action to expend 1 spell slot to restore hit points to your companion equal to your spellcasting ability modifier, minimum 1, plus an additional 2d4 per level of the spell slot expended. So this is just another healing option for you. As long as your companion's within 100 feet and you're holding the vessel, or if you're holding the vessel and it's inside, you can expend any spell slot to restore to hit points. So if you were to use a level, let's say level 5, you really want that companion to heal. It's going to be your spellcasting ability modifier. 2 times 5 is 10, so you would get 10d4. Okay. Psychic Bond, 2nd level Tamer feature. While your companion is within 100 feet of you, you can communicate with it telepathically. Additionally, as an action, you can see through your companion's eyes and hear what it hears until the start of your next turn, gaining the benefits of any special senses that the companion has. During this time, you're deaf and blind with regard to your own senses. This is kind of I think, a fairly standard companion thing. Find Familiar does it. Spell Swap. While your companion is summoned, is within 100 feet of you, and you hold its vessel, any spells your companion knows are added to your known spells. In addition, when you cast a spell with a range of self or touch, your companion can be the target of that spell. So this is a really cool feature because, like we said, when it becomes your companion, it loses its spellcasting ability, but it keeps its spell list. The reason we do that is because they have it so that those spells that it knows, now you know those spells. They're added to your spell list. I think that was a really cool addition. 3rd level Tamer feature, Pocket Family. This is the one we saw a lot of on the table, and here's why. As you gain levels in this class, the number of companions and maximum size of companion to which you can become bonded increases. You can be bonded to 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 creatures at 3rd, 7th, 11th, 15th, and 19th level respectively. Your companions can be sized medium at 5th level, large at 11th level, and huge at 17th level. If you're already bonded to your maximum number of companions and become bonded to a new companion, you must choose one existing companion to release from its vessel. I think that's good because it's not saying, I know some of these will do it, we're like, oh, you have a new one, so the first one you did, kind of like a spell. This is a new buff, so the first one you did, that one disappears. No, here they're saying, you get to choose which companion is released. Okay. When you bond with a new companion, the companion gains improvements and hit die based on its CR and your Tamer level. See the Tamer Companion Summary table for details. We already talked about that. Third level trainer feature, Tamer feature, training paradigm. You choose the type of training paradigm you follow from the list of available paradigms, which are detailed after the class's description. Your choice grants you features at third level, and again at 7th, 10th, 14th, and 18th level. The 7th level features improved. Okay, so they kind of tell you right now the 18th level is just an improvement of the 7th level, and these are the training paradigms are your subclasses, right? Ability score improvement, standard, 4th, 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th. Okay, multi-attack, 5th level Tamer feature. Through rigorous training, you can access the innate fury of your companions. When you take a bonus action or action to command your companion, you can command it to use its multi-attack action if it has one. So like we said before, if it has multi-attack, it loses it if you are not level 5. But once you hit level 5, if it has it, it gains it back, which makes sense because 5th level is when we usually get our extra attack feature. So it's getting the multi-attack back. It's only if it had multi-attack action though. It doesn't gain it if it didn't have it before. Okay, so this is only for creatures that had the multi-attack. Now they have access to it again. Malleable Presence, 5th level Tamer feature. While your companion is within 100 feet of you, you can order it to change its behavior towards one creature you can see as part of the bonus action or action you use to command it. Choose either the aggressive or cautious behaviors. At the start of each of the target creature's turns for the next minute, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw versus your Tamer spell save DC if it is within 30 feet of your companion and can see your companion. On a failure, it suffers the effects of the associated behavior until the start of its next turn. On a success, it is unaffected. So first we have aggressive. The creature has disadvantage on attack rolls it makes against creatures other than your companion. And next we have cautious. The creature has disadvantage on attack rolls against your companion if there's another creature hostile towards the attacker within 5 feet of the attacker. Okay. So basically aggressive, disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than companion, cautious, disadvantage on attack rolls against your companion if there's another, say, party member within 5 feet. Okay. After you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. So it's one use per rest. Okay. Alpha Strike, 6th level Tamer feature. While summoning a companion, your psychic connection is at its closest, allowing you to quickly relay your intent. As part of the action to summon a companion, you can command it to take an action in its stat block or some other action which it does so on its turn. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your Tamer spellcasting ability modifier, minimum of once. You regain all expended uses of this feature when you finish a long rest. So what it's saying is usually you have to use an action to summon it, and then on your next turn, you can use a BA or a action to give it and let it use one of its actions. With Alpha Strike, you, as part of that action to summon it, you can give it orders. So you're not going to you're not wasting an action or you're not wasting a bonus action. So that's pretty cool. Willful Blows, 6th level Tamer feature. Your magical potency is channeled through your companion's strikes. Your companion's attacks count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. I think that's a standard feature too for companions at 6th level. 13th level feature, Switcheroo. You learn how to switch places with your companion in the nick of time. While you and your companion are within 100 feet of each other, you can use a bonus action or a reaction when you or your companion is the target of an attack by an attacker you can see to magically switch places with your companion. If performed as a reaction, the creature that appears in the targeted creature's space becomes the new target of the attack. You have a number of uses of this feature equal to your Tamer spellcasting ability modifier, minimum of once. all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Okay, so again, this is another spellcasting ability modifier uses per long rest. This one is interesting. So you can use a bonus action to do it. So at any time you can switch places with your companion using a bonus action. Or if you or your companion are the target of an attack, you can use a reaction. And then if your companion is the target of attack, when you switch places, you become the target of the attack. Or if you're the target of the attack, you use your reaction to switch places and your companion is now the target of the attack. So that can lead to some interesting things. All right. Magnificent Presence, 17th level Tamer feature. While your companion is within 100 feet of you, you can order it to change its behavior as part of the bonus action or action you use to command it. Choose either the provoking poise or shrinking violet behaviors. So first is provoking poise. For the next minute, your companion draws the attention of nearby creatures. While within 15 feet of your companion, any creature that is hostile towards your companion and that can see it has disadvantage on attack rolls it makes against creatures other than your companion. And second, Shrieking Violet. For the next minute, your companion appears small and unassuming, making little noise. Any creature that is hostile towards your companion has disadvantage on attack rolls against your companion if there is another creature hostile towards the attacker within 15 feet of the attacker. So this is a direct upgrade of Malleable Presence, the 5th level feature, about 12 levels later. So we can see it's a little bit more powerful now. It's while your companion is within 100 feet, that's the same. It's still a minute, that's the same. What's different here is instead of aggressive, instead of one creature within 30 feet, this is every creature within 15 feet, and there's no save. They automatically have disadvantage. And then for Shrinking Violet, again, instead of one creature within 30 feet, it is any creature hostile towards your companion. Yep, any creature hostile towards your companion has disadvantage on attack rolls if there's another creature within 15 feet. So it kind of double triples the distance. So instead of 5 feet, it's 15 feet of the attacker. Okay. And then again, after you use this feature, can't do so again until after long rest. So this is only a one time per long rest feature. And then finally, we have Summon the Horde. 20th level Tamer feature. In times of great need, a Tamer can summon many of its companions simultaneously. As an action, you can summon additional companions, which remain summoned for 1 minute. You can have a maximum of 3 companions summoned simultaneously as a result of using this feature. As an action on subsequent turns, you can issue mental commands to all your companions at once, allowing them to take an action in their stat block or some other action. You choose the order in which your companions act each round. After the minute elapses, all your companions, bar 1, which you choose, return to their vessels and a wave of lethargy sweeps over you. You can't move or take actions until the end of your next turn. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. All right, so a couple things here. First, you can summon additional companions. So what that means to me is you can't just summon 3 companions. You have to have 1 out already, and then you can basically summon 2 extra. But when it says additional companions, that's what I read it as. So you have 1, you can summon 2 more. So because you can only have a maximum of 3. As an action on subsequent turns, you can issue mental commands. So you get to choose the order. So they always go after you, but when you have all 3 out, you can choose which order they go in. And then all your companions, except one which you choose, return to the vessels. So it doesn't have to be the companion that was out first. It can be one of the ones you summoned as part of this summon the horde. So that's also interesting that it lets you choose which one stays out and which ones return. Okay, so what we have here is after this is over, the minute elapses, all your companions, except the one you choose, go to the vessel. It sounds like you have incapacitated, but you're not incapacitated. So what I'm seeing is that this won't mean that your companion can, the one that's left out can take whatever move it wants. It's just going to have the dodge action. And another thing with this one is, as an action, you can summon additional companions. Because you're summoning additional companions, because you're summoning them, Alpha Strike, as long as you have uses left, you can use that for summon the horde. So if you have your one out already, if you use the action for summon the horde, then you can give those other two, the two ones that you summon in, you can give them actions on that turn that you summon them. So that's something, if you're level 20, you might want to consider, like, saving a couple of uses of your Alpha Strike in case you need summon the horde. All right, so that is our Tamer class. We're going to skip through the training paradigm. I'm going to do that for the next one. But let's go down to the new spells. Okay. So here's the Tamer Spell List that they have. It's not the full list, like they say, the full spell list for the Tamer class, including spells from the SRD, is provided below. Oh, it is the full spell list. Sorry. Spells not included in this reference document are indicated with an asterisk. Okay. So single asterisk means it's not. Single means it is. Two asterisks means it's available in Heliana's guide. Three means it's available in Motes of the Divine. Okay, so that's what our asterisks mean here. So you can see there's a few new ones that Loot Tavern has. Let's look at which ones they've included in this document. Okay. Some of the spells are listed belonging to a new school of magic called Biomancy, which is in Heliana's guide. If you'd rather not use Biomancy in your world, you can use to elect the alternative school of magic supplied. Okay, so if you don't want to use the school of Biomancy, they give you an alternate school you can use. Aura of Impurity, it's a 4th level abjuration spell. Casting time, 1 action, range self, components verbal, duration, concentration up to a minute. Innervating energy radiates from you in an aura with a 30-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. Each creature of your choice that enters the aura for the first time on its turn or starts its turn there must succeed on a charisma saving throw or become drained until the end of its next turn. While drained, a creature must roll a d4 and subtract the number roll from each ability check, attack roll, or saving throw it makes, and any hit points a creature regains are reduced by half. Okay, so that's another one, self. So that's one that you can have on your companion. Chameleon Skin, Biomancy can replace it with Transmutation. 1 action, touch, verbal somatic material, red, yellow, and blue pigment, concentration up to 10 minutes. All of these classes. You imbue a creature you touch with pigment so that its skin and anything it wears or carries slowly shifts hues to match its surroundings. For the duration, the target can take the hide action as a bonus action on each of its turns, even when only lightly obscured. If the target did not move during its last turn, creatures have disadvantage on any perception checks made to see the target. Creatures who do not rely on sight, such as those with tremor sense, are immune to this effect. At higher levels, when you cast a spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, you can target 1 additional creature for each level slot. Okay, so upcasting lets you cast it on more than 1 creature. Eel Skin, second level Biomancy, so it can be replaced with Evocation. Casting Time, 1 action or 1 bonus action. Touch, Verbal Somatic Material, some Jellied Eel. Concentration up to a minute. You cause the skin of a willing creature you touch to produce a slimy, electrified mucus. The creature's unarmed strikes and natural weapon attacks become magical for the duration of the spell. The first time the creature hits with an unarmed strike or an attack using a natural weapon on its turn, it deals an additional 1d8 lightning damage as the stored lightning discharges. Okay, so the first time each turn. Okay. Slimy, for the duration, the creature has advantage on checks and saves made to avoid being grappled or restrained, and disadvantage on any attempts to grapple another creature. At higher levels, when you cast it using a spell slot of 4th level or higher, the damage increases by 1d8 for each 2 slot levels above 2nd. Okay, so you upcast it. It's a 2nd level, but you upcast it starting with the spell slot of 4th level, and it's every 2 levels. The damage increases. Okay. Fever Skin, 5th level Biomancy, can replace with Evocation. Casting Time is 1 action. That got made weird. Okay. Range Self, Verbal Somatic Material, Red Hot Chili Pepper, which the spell consumes. Concentration up to a minute. You eat a chili pepper, your metabolism increases, and your skin begins to burn to the touch. Make a melee spell attack against a creature within your reach. On a hit, the target takes 66 fire damage. Until the spell ends, you can use an action on each of your subsequent turns to make this attack again. For the duration, your walking speed increases by 15 feet, and you gain 2d6 temporary hit points at the start of each of your turns. At higher levels, when you cast it using a spell of 6th level or higher, the damage increases by 1d6 for each slot a level above 5th. Peppermint Plate, 1st level Abjuration, 1 action, Self, Verbal Somatic Material, well-chewed peppermint chewing gum, concentration up to 1 hour, protective layer of hot, hard peppermint icing coats you. For the duration, you gain +1 bonus to AC, and if a creature hits you with a melee attack, the creature takes 1d4 fire damage. This damage can trigger no more than once per turn. In a way, it feels kind of like Armor of Agathis, the Warlock spell, but instead of cold, it's like fire. Okay. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, fire damage increases by 1d4 for each slot above 1st. Protection, 2nd level Abjuration, 1 action, 30 feet, Verbal Somatic Material, miniature silver shield worth 10 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. Concentration up to 1 hour. You trace a warding sigil in the air, sending it to slowly circle a willing creature you can see for the next hour. Okay, immediately before the target next takes damage, except psychic damage, the ward triggers. Until the end of the target's next turn, it has resistance to all damage, excluding psychic, including the triggering damage. The warding sigil then disappears, and the spell ends on the target. At higher levels, when you cast a spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, you may target 1 additional creature for each slot above 2nd. So it's another one where upcasting doesn't increase damage, it increases the number of creatures you can protect. Okay. Riptide, 2nd level transmutation, 1 action, 300 feet, verbal somatic, concentration. Choose 1 creature you can see within range that is at least 2 feet of water and choose a direction. Turbulent currents wrap around the creature. For the duration, the target must make a strength saving throw at the start of each of its turns. On a failure, it is dragged 30 feet in the direction you choose, and its swimming speed is reduced to 0 until the start of the next turn. On a success, the creature can move normally until the start of its next turn. As a bonus action on your turn, you can change the direction of the underwater currents. The spell ends early if the creature is ever out of the spell's range or is no longer in water at least 2 feet deep. Stunbolt, 4th level Evocation, 1 action, 150 feet, verbal somatic material, instantaneous. Ooh, I think that is the only instantaneous one, it looks like. Yep. All right. Um, you fire a concentrated bolt of energy at a target within range, which explodes in a cloud of crackling lightning. The target must make a con saving throw. On a failure, the target takes 8d8 lightning damage and can't take reactions until the start of its next turn. A creature that fails by 5 or more is also stunned until the end of its next turn. On a success, a creature takes half as much damage, isn't stunned, and can take reactions as normal. Higher levels increase the damage. Okay, and then finally we have Sugar Rush, second level Biomancy, or can be replaced with Transmutation. One action, 30 feet, verbal somatic materials, just some candy. Concentration up to a minute. Choose a willing creature that you can see within range until the spell ends. The target's speed is increased by 15 feet and gains a +1 bonus to AC. As a bonus action on each of its turns, it can take the dash, disengage, hide, or use an object action. When the spell ends, or if an affected creature does not spend movement up to its walking speed by the end of its turn, it then develops a stomach ache and is poisoned until the end of its next turn. Cast the spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher. You can target one additional creature. Okay, kind of like a mini haste, so it doesn't have the attack, and instead of leaving you lethargic, it gives you a stomach ache and poisoned. All right, so that's where we're going to end this one. The next video, we'll talk about this Infuser class, subclass, and then we'll talk about the familiars. All right. Hope this helped you. If you find it interesting, subscribe, and then when the next video gets posted, you'll be able to see when that happens. I really recommend joining the Discord. Lots of people there, very helpful, can answer any questions you have. You can join the Patreon for free, but to get access to a lot of like the hunts and extra materials, then you actually need to be a member, be a paid member. That's why I don't have access to this. I'm just a free member. But if you can, check them out. I'll have all of the relevant links below. And I hope to see you guys again. I hope you enjoyed this content. Have a great day.